Welcome, my friends, to Paranormal Heart Podcast. This segment is pre-recorded and streaming on United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM, New Orleans. Also, uprntalkradio.com. I'm your host, Kat Ward. Thanks so much for tuning in. So, folks, my special guest tonight is a dear friend, my paranormal brother and return guest, Tim Sudano. Tim will be discussing aerial anomalies. Good grief, I've practiced that word before and I still can't get it. Aerial anomaly, strange things in the skies, including potentially spotting Santa in the skies. I mean, even NORAD tracks them, so do they know something that we don't know? So welcome, Tim, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's hard to say anomalies sometimes.
Oh, geez, yes. Oh, there was, as you know, that I narrated an audiobook and I was tripped up on, I can say it in French. It's, what was it? No, not in French. It was wardrobe. And it sounded like I was saying, "Meow wow." I just could not say it. Oh, no, it was armoire, armoire.
Armoire.
Meow. I just like, yeah. So
the cat comes walking in, yes.
The author said, just say it in French. I'm like, okay. So I digress. Yeah. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have to try and stay on track because we always stray.
Good luck.
So for the audience, Tim and I always have way too much fun.
Far too much fun. Yeah. We're serious broadcasters, though, darn it.
Oh, right? We're professional, darn it.
Absolutely.
So where would you like to start? So let's start. I'm pretty sure the audience has heard of you before. If they've listened to the show before, this is not your first rodeo on the show. But just refresh people's memories, give them a little bit of background on you, and then we can jump into the topic.
Sure. I started out my career as a parent. No, I already do that part. As a private investigator, I did that for a short while, almost right out of high school, and I did that for a few years. And then I had an experience. I kind of said, you know what, I'm done with this. It happened on surveillance. I don't want to bore you with the details at this point. But so I will go looking for a new job, and this internship opened up at NASA. So I worked at NASA for a couple of years, and that was fun. Man, I learned so much.
I can imagine
some stuff I shouldn't have learned, but I mean, it was amazing. I mean, there was it's I was so low on the proverbial roster. We can't say totem pole anymore. Apparently, it's a bad thing. So on the list of who's important, and people just ignored me. Not ignored me. They would talk about the most top secret thing in the world, and I'm there handing out brochures and stuff about these topics. I mean, they're covered in such a way that it's just like a really obscure looking topic. It's like, you know, but the reality was they were talking about advanced engineering, new projects on the way, weapons, science projects. It was just amazing, the stuff that came through. And I was privy to it, and I'm not under any sort of obligation because, well, first, it's over 25 years. And secondly, I never had to sign an NDA about anything. So
nice.
I'm sorry. So there was that. I'm sorry. There was
I just can't imagine you walking into a top secret meeting and they're like, "Oh, it's just him." Keep talking.
Well, it's not just me. There were other interns there, just handing out, you know, because we set up there. They sit at a long table or something along those lines, and we'd set up their plate. Oh, my camera went dead.
Oh,
can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're having internet issues there. Okay.
Oh, and your audio is off from your video. Your audio is off from your video, yeah, which is kind of odd.
Is it? How about now?
Yep.
Still off?
Yes.
Good
seeing you
times.
not,
I love
seeing you not,
technology.
seeing you not moving, and then I hear your voice, and then the mouth goes.
Oh, weird. Is it still happening? Did it sync up yet?
Yep. Well, I'm going to hit end record. I do apologize to the audience, but we're going to see if we can get this back on track. Plug into your, yeah. Okay. We'll be right back after these messages.
Yeah. Get
Oh, if I stop. Okay. Then I can
pause and come back in.
Yeah. I think.
There's a little pause button. I see it. Upper right.
Oh,
wunderbar.
and we are back.
Part of the technical difficulties, we have a solution.
You've seen nothing.
Nothing happened here. Nothing at all.
That's the paranormal, boys and girls.
Yeah. Whoops.
Okay.
Sorry, my bobbling my computer here because I have to plug in my power. There we go.
I swear we know what we're doing.
We do know what we're doing. 9 times out of 10, this works.
I had a guest recently where third time was a charm. The first time, the connection, both said it was strong. We had full bars, both for him and myself, but we kept freezing up. So we couldn't do it.
That's what kept happening on my end. So I switched to the Ethernet.
Weird. So. Okay. Strange. Okay, so we're back.
We're back.
Thank you for your patience to the audience. Oh, good grief. Do you remember where you left off, Tim?
I left off, after NASA, after I learned all the cool stuff, I decided I wanted to, do as much as I can to be around that type of thing. And the only path I saw beyond getting an engineering degree, which I was too impatient to try and go for, was to enter into the military. So I tried my hand at the Air Force, U.S. Air Force. And I was there for a couple of years as a cadet, and also learned a great many things I probably shouldn't have.
You just seem to be at the right place at the right time.
It's not even that. It's just, at least at the time, we're talking about the 90s now, while secrecy was there, and they preached to us left, right, and center, watch what you say, lose lip, sink ships, and all that fun stuff. It was still, there was this, how do I put this? It wasn't cavalier, but there was a kind of a loosey-goosey feel during that time. And because I don't know, for lack of a better term, a superiority complex. It was like, no secrets are getting out of here. We trust everybody. Not that I'm untrustworthy, but my time is up and I can talk about it. So.
It's funny how you can be in a certain location where you're picking up information that you really shouldn't be hearing. It's just fascinating.
At NASA, I've told this story before, but at NASA we had this huge mammoth. I mean, this thing was already kind of a dinosaur, but it's still useful and pretty cool. It's a big copier and a sorter and a document builder, right? So it took up one side of the wall. Wow. And you had to enter a code every time you made copies, because my boss would send the printer that code, say you can only make this many copies of this document when it's brought in.
Right.
Well, the damn thing jammed all the time. So I learned a trick to where, and one of the other interns showed me this trick where, yeah, you can enter your code, but you can make an adjustment. Like you can goose it up to like 100 in case there's a mishap. Like if you only had to make 40, you can go up to 100. But it covers off was the key of this thing, because the covers were of a thicker thing than the actual printout, the printer, regular printer paper. So, or copier paper at the time. And so I'd have basically reams of jam pages off to one side. You're bored because you got to babysit the job while it's running, and that's kind of interesting. Tractor beams. Who knew that? What's that? So that type of thing. That was amazing though. That we were fouled by technology. It was too old for its own good.
Yeah. Can you imagine bringing home all those jam pieces of paper at home and flattening them and trying to figure out what's the top secret writing is?
Oh, I wasn't that clever. I was also too afraid to take anything out of the office.
Yeah. Yes. I would
So,
too. Yeah.
More than anything was fear. That kept me aligned at work, but still, I learned some amazing things that I probably really shouldn't have learned about.
But that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, yeah.
There seems to be a little bit of a delay again, but not like before, I think.
Okay.
Okay, no, it seems to be. Oh,
you want to pause and come back?
No, it seems to be. It's intermittent. Good grief. I hope I'm not the only host who ever has these technical issues.
Can be fun.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
The way I understand it, we may be moving away from this platform in the future.
Maybe.
To a more stable version.
So, strange things in the sky, because I'm not going to attempt that word again. Did you happen to... Thank you. Easy for you to say. So when you're at NASA or even the military, were you privy to any information on anything strange in the skies?
Sure was.
Okay. Are you prepared to discuss any of this? Yes. Say what you can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, here's the way I'll say it, because this is the way it happened. This was told to me like second or third hand. At, I don't know if I should say the name of the airbase, but it's a California-based airbase. There was a couple of, in the Air Force we call them SPs, but the Army calls them MPs, so military police, basically.
Oh, yes.
And two guys are on patrol. Yeah. Two guys are on patrol. And they're walking at the far end of this really super long tarmac that's meant for supersonic aircraft to land on and take off from. So they need a longer stretch. And I think the space shuttle landed there back when we had that program too. And so these guys are walking along. They're doing their thing. They're chatting back and forth, doing their job, basically. And I don't know if they have these type of stoplights in Canada, but there's these kind where it's kind of dangerous. But if you come up on a it is to prevent people from running on red lights. So if you come up on it, but you can only see the green light at a certain angle. I don't know if you have those lights, those traffic lights there. We stopped using them here, but because they were causing more accidents than preventing. But
I can imagine.
At a certain angle, the lens allows you to see the light within the thing. Well, they're walking along and the same basic effect happens. And they're walking along, and suddenly, they're right at the right angle, the proper angle, I should say, to see this massive airship, not an airship, a ship, and it's cigar shaped. You know what they typically describe as a cigar shape, and it matched the description of the guy whose name I'm blanking on, who hacked into like DOJ, NASA, and released the names of all those different secret space program ships. His name escapes
Solange.
Me.
No, it's not Solange.
No, I don't believe so.
No. Why did that name pop into my head? Anyways, yeah, I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, his if you know out there, you know. So so what they describe is this thing, and it's just sitting there. And there's these guys wheeling these big
Crates?
gosh, there's a funny name for them too.
Oh.
Well, they're crates, but they're on a specific wheeled gurney kind of a thing, but they're gigantic. I think they're called Kentucky something or others down here. I don't know. And basically they're flatbed crates, but they're super huge. They're gigantic. And they're pushing these things in this warehouse, and there's this blue flash in the warehouse, and then there's a distant blue flash up on this ship. Because they got this roll-up cargo bay thing open.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they get approached by two dudes in similar dress to them. They were SPs, apparently, but everything about them was black as far as their uniform goes.
Yeah.
And they said, "You two, get out of here now." Sir, yes, sir. And they turned around. And that's the end of that story. But it was fascinating. I mean,
no kidding.
Of all the things I've heard about, that was probably the most interesting one.
Wow. Yeah, too bad you couldn't have seen that.
That would have been cool. I would have loved to have seen that. That's awesome.
So would they have been like big sea cans? I don't know if
that's
that's what you call them down there. That's what we call them up here, sea cans? Is that what the big flatbed containers?
Are you referring to the crates or the trolley?
The actual crate. Or were you referring to the trolley?
I was referring to the trolley. I think they're called Kentucky Movers or something like that.
Okay.
I'm probably misremembering that horribly. I'm a bad Air Force person. Sorry. But there's that was what they were using. They shuttle these crates into, and that's what they report. Flash here, flash up there, and we had a break in the line again. How funny.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You seem to be okay on this end.
Okay.
So do you think that those items got teleported? Is that what the flashes of blue light were?
That's the inference. Yeah. That's the inference. I wasn't there. I couldn't say for certain.
Yeah.
But that's certainly the inference. And I know they've been working on, I guess, a little more publicly that technology in the private sector, but I think the military's had something similar to that for a while. I mean, right out of Star Trek. It really is. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the technologies from Star Trek, like the first flip phones, were designed after, the communicators. So that's so cool. Yeah.
Well, they actually, if you recall, they actually had some of the Star Trek crew advertise those when they came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Yeah. I remember a few years ago, it was probably like 10 years ago, there was this cell phone that you could get, but it looked just like the communicator. And it was, I've never seen them come out. They said pre-order now or put down your name and we'll let you know when it comes up. I've never heard anything else. Blast you.
They were made by a guy down here, I think down here in the US. Yeah, they were custom jobs. You had to order them specifically from him.
Yep.
And it was great. It was basically a Bluetooth extension, kind of like an ear pod, but it was the Star Trek communicator. It was amazing. Yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool.
As a kid, I did have the communicator, the tricorder,
Me too.
Yeah. I loved it. Oh my God. Yes.
The phaser.
Geeks here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
But even now,
God, I wish I still had those around. They'd be worth so much right
I know, me too. I don't even know what happened to them. Like, I remember having them, and now I remember not having them. But I don't remember what happened in between.
Yeah, I think they might be in an attic somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Good grief. I don't know either.
Anomaly.
This happens. No. Yeah. Who are you? Why are you on my TV?
I don't know.
So have you heard of anything strange in the skies recently?
Yeah, JJ had an experience, as you are well aware.
Yeah,
But for our audience out there, they may not be aware. There was she caught it on her cell phone, and I wish I
that
could
was
share
amazing.
it because I totally would present. Let's see if I can get that up there real quick.
Okay.
But I'll say something about it as I look for it. Yeah, there it is. It's coming, and we'll play it in just a minute. But she caught this thing on camera, and it looked weird. It was this very bright orange, but a dull orange, and it wasn't behaving like a satellite behaved, because
Yeah.
it was constantly bright, and it was miles and miles up. And toward the end of that video, you can actually get a comparison of how far away it was, because there's this jet that takes off in the foreground of the video.
Yep. And you could hear the
And
jet.
at the very, 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 yeah, you can hear the jet. Yeah, that's right. And at the very, very end, you see this color, the color of this craft shift, and suddenly it darts to one side. It's in the last few frames of this whole thing. But if you want, I'll play it for you.
Yeah, please, if you can.
Here we
So
go.
for the audio audience, I apologize. Just go to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to check it out.
So it kept going in and out of blurriness there.
Okay,
but,
now my phone's
better.
pulsing, and I'm doing
That's
nothing.
fine.
Like, the
So
phone
come
is
on.
doing
That's
that
just-
on its own, and I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And I have no clue what that is.
Oh, it went away. There it is.
And see, there's an actual plane. You can hear the
Yeah.
noise.
Yep.
The noise.
The noise.
And now watch it at the last second there. Did you see it? It turned blue and went the other way.
Yeah.
I'll remove this. So that's we followed that. She showed that to me. We sat on that. We sat on that for a good 2 weeks, because she said, I showed it to a few friends. We have mutual and independent friends throughout the paranormal community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they said, oh, that's a satellite. Oh, that's ISS. Oh, that's the International Space Station, just so you know. Yep. And audience people. And oh, that's Starlink. No, it was none of those things.
I've seen Starlink.
That's not Starlink. No. That's a line in the sky. And so we do more digging. When we finally go live, JJ mostly took credit for not only shooting the video, but doing the research on this. I did my portion of it by checking satellite pathways and weather anomalies and all the fun stuff that are in our area. We're in northern half of California, so we couldn't see if that were a Southern California launch. We never would have seen it anyway, let alone that there was a launch that day, or sorry, it was either that day or it was the day after, which is strange.
Yeah.
So we
I remember you guys saying
in Florida.
Yeah, I remember you guys saying the time frame did not match from the launch to what was actually seen. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, not at all. And we've seen this thing coming back into orbit over us before. There's this huge smoke trail, and so it wasn't that. It wasn't the other end of a SpaceX launch. So again, mostly due to JJ's research and talking to other people out there, she wasn't the only one who witnessed it. Not only people in our state saw it, we're on the West Coast in California, but people in Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, all the way to Texas, and in one case in Florida, they saw it.
That's booking it. That's fast.
And it's really fast, yeah.
If it's the same object.
If you saw, it had to be because we all saw it, or they all saw it at the exact same time, practically. I mean, and the orbit of this thing, if it is indeed orbiting, was a north to south pole orbit. That's really rare. Our satellites go around our equator, around one of the tropics of Cancer, typically. So, yeah, we were able to determine that was in fact a UFO or UAP, if you prefer, which is fantastic. And it's not too clear in that video, but when it's blown up a little bit, you can actually see it kind of looks like an hourglass with the center object in the middle, and it's casting these two lights in this hourglass formation, and it maintains that all the way to the horizon. Then it switches color and goes off to one side, which is just amazing. I mean, it boggled the mind. I tell you what, it was really cool.
And I know both you and JJ, you always do your due diligence, and before you even put it on social media, you're looking to find what did I just see? Was it a satellite? Was it a drone? Like, what was it? Before mentioning that, I don't know what it is. So you guys did a lot of research to try and figure out what the heck that really was, and if there's any aircraft in the area. Well, yeah. And you guys know people that I wouldn't have known who to contact had I seen something like that.
Well, she actually reached out to MUFON and made a report. So
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
At least.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I think that was
she actually questioned doing this. No. I said, no, do it. Just do it. You got to document this one way or another. I mean, holding on to it's not going to help anyone. We should document it.
And I'm sure there's things that have been documented that were less of what she observed. So.
Oh, yeah. But still, it's the exact same basic thing. I mean, an orange amber light going north to south, roughly. Or in that basic trajectory, that pathway. And it was seen across at least half the country. And I think there were even a few trying to think what's West Coast, Vancouver? Is that the one that province on the West Coast?
British
Vancouver
Columbia
saw it too, or some.
I'm
sorry, British Columbia saw it. Right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
You're not Canadian. You're not a Canuck.
I try to be as worldly as possible.
Yeah, well, with me, I know a few. I know a few of where your states are. If somebody were to say it, but for the most part, I have no idea where states are. When people tell me, it's like, where the heck is that? I've heard of all the states, but on the map, I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry.
No worries. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish I had a better knowledge of that stuff. I feel a little embarrassed, like getting British Columbia and Vancouver confused.
Well, Vancouver is in British Columbia, so you're in the right part of the map.
Okay, so I was okay. It's fantastic.
Yes,
well, now I don't feel as bad.
And you're testing me too to see if I knew. So well done.
Well done on you.
So have you ever seen anything strange in the skies?
I had one experience. It's really benign. It wasn't great like JJ's, but right above my house, moving actually, north to south. Interesting. I just thought about that.
Oh.
There's this white light way out there, and it had a bit of a streak to it. So I'm thinking, oh wow, is that a meteorite? But it wasn't moving like a meteorite. It had a tail, but it was just so long. It just stayed there forever, going with a tail behind it, and then it got dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and the tail receded. Like it left the atmosphere versus crashing into the atmosphere.
Oh, wow. Strange. Yeah. I've seen two incidences where I was convinced there were UFOs. When I was a teenager, a bunch of us went to, this is on the East Coast. There's a bunch of beaches back home, and we were at the famous Parley Beach if you're from the East Coast of Canada. But there was a campsite next to it. So there was like 4 or 5 of us, and we're all on a picnic table looking up in the evening, because one of my friends was camping there with her family, and they said, well, everybody come on out. It's like, yeah, okay. So we're all there looking at the stars, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, there, it looked like a star. That's how big it looked, but it was moving. Weird, like not a satellite, not an aircraft, not a balloon. It was just like zoom, zoom, like just, and we're all like, what is that? And my dad had a good friend at the time who was a air traffic controller at the airport. So I just I called him, and I'm like, hey, do you know of anything weird in the skies? And he goes, no, there was, and I'm like, do you know of anything that could move like that? He goes, no, I don't. I'm like, okay, because I thought maybe him being in the industry, maybe he knows of aircraft that could potentially move like that. I didn't think he would know, but because like I said, meteors don't move, like don't suddenly change directions, if they're falling and then they go up, left, right, aircraft don't do that. So we were convinced that we saw a UFO. And
well, it sounds like it, yeah.
Well,
that kind of activity.
Yeah. Never found out what it was. Never heard if anybody else saw it. But back then, being a teenager, I never thought to listen to the radio stations the next day or look at the newspapers to see if anybody else reported it. I just, stupid teenager, didn't think of it. But and then the second one was I was visiting my grandparents in the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia, and so we went for a drive, and we're going back to their house at nighttime, and all of a sudden it looked like this great big light coming from the left of us, and I'm thinking, oh, there's a road there. My grandfather, he's like, there's no road there. I don't know what, it just all of a sudden appeared, and then I can't remember if there was movement, but my grandfather was a pilot during the war. He was also an airline pilot after the war. So he's savvy when it comes to stuff like that. And he did have, after he retired, he did have a little Cessna aircraft, I think it was, that he flew for a while. And I think that was in BC, or was that in Ontario? Anyways, sorry, not relevant to the story. But yeah, even my grandfather was like, yeah, that didn't seem right. I think that was a UFO. And my grandmother's like, oh, come on, guys, it has to be a vehicle. And my grandfather's like, there's no road there. It's just a field. And then the next day on the radio and on the news, we heard so many other people mention that they saw it too. So it's just like, wow, this is pretty cool. So those are the only 2 times that I think that I saw a UFO. They're just lights, but
very
unusual
cool.
lights.
Hey, one up on me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's mostly what people see.
Well, yeah.
So, but yeah.
Cool.
Very rarely do people say full-blown aircraft, although with everyone having a cell phone now, more and more of these things are showing up. There's also some fakery out there. It's pretty obvious, but it's getting better. It's getting so good it's hard to tell sometimes.
Well, it's getting so good that I just don't believe anything I see on the internet anymore.
It's really tough. I mean, I'm lucky. I ended up in the film business, to where I can tell where there's digital manipulation, even as advanced as it is, because AI doesn't capture everything correctly.
Yeah.
So, yet.
Yeah. Give it a week.
Give it a week. Right.
Well, it's like that. Remember when my car? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I think there's a little delay there again.
Yeah, I keep seeing an internet warning thing on.
Oh, I'm not seeing
like it's
that.
half strength. It's weird.
Yeah. Huh. So yeah, if you remember the Fantastic Five, that's there's 5 of us in the paranormal field that we just we got along. We consider each other family now. We call each other the Fantastic Five, and we chat. It's a great group. But remember the time when I had the strange activity with my vehicle at the same location, And then I actually took,
same
and
place.
stupid me, as an investigator, should have known. I didn't put the window down to record, because I told my daughter, I said, here, record. And I thought I captured a UFO. There was this blue streak, and I showed my husband, and he's just like, I think you got something there. But then when I showed it to you guys, and I showed it to a couple of photography friends of mine, they're like, that's lens flare. I'm like, ugh, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
But there was, I really was disappointed. I really wanted it to be something, but yeah. For those of you who don't know the story, my daughter and I, we've got this little 2012 Ford Fiesta. It's don't laugh, it's mine. No. So every time we come back from town at the same location, the first time it happened, my car stopped. Just all of a sudden, it went bing, bing, and it said change oil, check battery, and then we'd have enough time to pull off to the side, and then it would stall. And it's like, oh, okay. The first time it happened, I'm like, oh, wow, this is weird. There's a guy riding a bike. They had jeans, I think, a ball cap, but I can't remember what else. And then that's when after we passed him, it happened. And then the next day it happened again. I'm like, look, is that the same guy? And I never see anybody riding bikes there. And then the car acted up the same again. And we thought, okay, 2 times in the same location. It happened 5 times at the same spot. And it's like, okay, there absolutely has. Oh, I thought I told you that. Yeah, 5 times at the same spot.
I didn't know it happened 5 times. I was only aware that it happened twice.
Yeah, it happened a few other times after that, and like with a stretch of time, and it was so weird. Like the first time it happens, okay. Second time, after the third time, you start questioning it, but when it happens 5 times at the same spot, there has to be something there. And
something there, right?
Yeah. So asked my daughter, because I was driving one day, I said, just take some pictures, take a video as we're driving by in that field, and didn't think to tell her to put the window down. It's like, oh, yeah, what a great paranormal investigator I am. I did pull over though, so she could take a video and some pictures. But yeah, after we left, I think I mentioned when somebody in the Fantastic Five mentioned it. Is the window down? And I thought, oh no, it wasn't.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Forgot something.
But yeah, I was positive. And my husband, he's such a huge skeptic too. And he's like, I think you got something there. And I'm like, I think so too. And it's like, okay, I have to ask people who know about film and photography and stuff. And there's a friend of mine here in town who's a professional photographer. I sent it to him. I sent it to you guys. And I sent it to a friend of mine, Eric. He's in the film industry, but he's actually on UPRN as well with his cousin Justin. Justin, Paratruth Reborn. So I sent it to him to say, hey, you guys are in this field. What do you think? And it's just like, oh, like I said, I really thought I had something, but I'm disappointed. But oh well.
One thing that struck me about that was it was blue. It was this little blue dot that showed up.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was, my first inclination was lens flare as well. But then I looked at it. And the one thing it didn't have in common with a lens flare is that there was no preceding or proceeding like flare. Usually in lens flares, you get like 2 or 3 in a row.
Oh, really?
This
okay, yeah.
And that's not terribly rare. I mean, that's not terribly common. I mean, you'd have to be so spot on just to get one little flare. So
maybe I did get something then.
That's why I said I think you had. Yeah.
It got to the point that whenever I drive by, there was one time I told my daughter, said, I wonder if there's a body there, because if there is, driving by, you wouldn't see it. And maybe they're trying to get our attention. And then it sputters and happens again. I was just like, okay, that's kind of strange. After I mentioned it, it happened again, but it was a little further up. I did look. I didn't see anything. But yeah, it was, to this day, I still don't know why at that same location. Yes, my car did have issues. They've since been repaired. But for that to happen only at that location, like, and we've driven on, because to go to town, you can either take the highway or you can just go through town, right? And countless times we've taken the highway and it never happened. And then this one location, it's just really strange.
That is very peculiar. I would, if I were in your neck of the woods, I'd totally investigate that as a paranormal possibility, you know.
And I've always said that I'm going to bring my FLIR with me. I'm going to bring EMF detectors and stuff like that. I'm going to put it in the car, and I never did. Again, great paranormal investigator here, eh?
Yeah, no worries. That's fine.
Well, it's funny when you're investigating other locations, you're prepared, but when it happens to you, it just, you know, you just don't think of these things for whatever reason.
You're absolutely correct. You don't expect it to happen to you after being in the field so much, you know. It's like, nothing's gonna happen to me. I go to where the issues are, you know, they don't come to me.
Yeah.
But
so have you ever heard of any more weird things in the sky? Because that blasted word is still a tongue twister for me. If there's anything do you know if there's anything?
We'll just call it that.
Yeah, right. The aerial mimimi. Have you heard of any more sightings happening around Christmas time or like December?
Oh, well, it's funny you mentioned that. When you proposed the topic initially, the first thing that popped in my head was there was, for a short time, I don't know if it's still the case, but especially when it comes to space flights to and from the International Space Station, there was a code word. If anyone saw anything up there that was anomalous, and it was Santa Claus.
No way.
So, yeah. So I was
wow.
saw Santa Claus. Oh, geez, really? What does it look like for you? And they compare notes at the station before they made any official report.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Well, like I said in the intro, NORAD even tracks the guy. So is there something?
Yeah. I know. That's a fun thing to tune into every Christmas. The little kids who still believe in the family love it.
Yeah.
They love it. I think it's great. And someone worked out.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, someone worked out at NASA, and they had it up on their door during the Christmas season. How Santa could possibly achieve it, and it was a zigzag pattern, north to south, against the rotation of the Earth.
North to south.
North to south again. I know. North to south, assuming he lived in the North Pole. North to south, heading against the rotation of the Earth, and he could probably, basically, he'd be in one spot. The Earth would spin underneath him, and he'd have to make all these stops, and he could conceivably achieve it.
Good.
Conceivably.
But I remember asking all these. I remember asking all these questions to my parents when I was little, and because we lived in the top floor of a 3-story apartment building, we didn't have a fireplace. So I asked my parents, how's Santa going to get in the house? And they said, it's magic. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it was, every time I had a question like that, it's magic. We don't know how he does it. It's just magic. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe he does have. maybe his sled is something like the TARDIS that, it can travel in lots of dimensions all at the same time. And you can be like in Australia and you can be, I don't know, Africa all at the same time.
Yeah, virtually. Yeah.
So maybe Santa
That's
is
great.
a Time
TARDIS.
Lord.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I love that idea. They should totally do an episode about that.
They should. Mr. Moffat, if you're listening, if you're still doing Doctor Who, you got to do this.
Right.
We get credit, though.
David Tennant back to do it. Actually, it doesn't matter.
I love all of them.
Oh, they're all fantastic. They really are. They all adopted the character quite well.
They did. I like Capaldi as well.
Their own little spin on it.
Yep. So many people didn't like him because he was old. He was amazing.
Oh, dude, the first 3 Doctors were positively ancient comparatively.
Well, yeah, I know. So yeah,
they're silver-haired old guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, folks, we might have finally figured out.
Baker came in at number 4.
Oh yeah. We might have figured out the mystery behind Santa Claus. He's just a Time Lord.
Yeah, it's a Time Lord. They're real.
Because the TARDIS originally was supposed to be whatever time that it lands, it's supposed to take on the shape of an object that is familiar for that era. So it just blends in. So who knows? Maybe he's just stuck in like the blue TARDIS right now. He's just stuck in the shape.
Is stuck in sleigh mode?
It's got a snow globe on the on the console. And that's where Rudolph, his red nose. Maybe that's like a sonic. He's got a sonic nose instead of a sonic screwdriver.
Or the whole ship configured itself in that way, and that's the blinky light on top in front of Rudolph now.
Oh, jeepers.
Yep, this is what we mean by diving off the topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Well, we're still kind of on the topic because, the Santa, like he's weird things in the sky. Like
we're in fantasy world now, but that's okay.
Is Santa flying in the skies during the rest of the rest of the year? Just the ship looks different. So, the sled blends in because it's Christmas.
Yeah. We just answered. We just solved a bunch of problems right now, Kat.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, jeepers.
Next,
see, folks.
World Peace. Ready?
Oh, geez. See, we weren't kidding, folks, when we said Tim and I usually have too much fun.
Far too much fun.
Yeah. I've said this on the show before. I think it was my third. No, it wasn't my third episode. It was single-digit episodes anyways. And my buddy from Newfoundland, John Mallard from Odd to Newfoundland, had him on. And him and I just did so much laughing. And then I had some negative comments for that episode saying the paranormal and humor have no place to be together. And they were really put out. And it's like, no, like,
wow.
It helps to raise your vibration, so you might be able to see something. I don't know, but yeah, they really didn't like the fact that there was humor in that episode with the paranormal, and it's like, well, and all I said was, thank you very much for taking the time to listen and to comment. I didn't bite, I don't want to start an argument on the internet, but I was appreciative that. Yeah. I appreciated that they listened, and like I said, that they did comment. It's like, okay, thank you. But yeah.
I hear you. So do we is there anything else in the sky? Well, let me get your take if you've been following it at all. The take on the latest UAP hearings and what they put forth at there. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I had it on mute. I was testing you to see if you'd notice. Well done.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah. So I caught bits and pieces of it. I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but it was interesting. And I don't know if they're lying or not, or if they're trying to distract us from something else, or only giving us enough information to feed the hunger of wanting to know more knowledge about what's going on. So I really don't know. What do you think?
For my part, it was just another baby step. I don't think we made any significant strides as far as getting more information. Basically, there was a lot of information that was repeated, I think, more emphatically with this set of witnesses that were interviewed. But and with the only caveat was we're going to get an answer. That we're going to get an answer much sooner than we realize, and possibly at the end of this year, or next year. I can't remember which they said. But,
I think it's this year, but I'm not sure.
An answer. Yeah, I think so. I think I recall it being this year. But I mean, other than that, we've heard that before. That's the only downside. We've heard that before, and you can put as much passion as you want behind it, but if powers that be deem it to be too dangerous for the public to know, here comes another year at least of suppression of that information. So who knows?
And I don't feel that they're going to give us 100% of the truth. They're going to hold back a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what a good stepping stone would be, and from my part, I mean, is to come forward on whether or not we actually have truly alien citizens here on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Visitors walking around, whatever, whether they look like us or not. Yep. I've had my own experience with, alien beings on this world. It was at a distance, but they were not human. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
much.
That's
not
the
like
little girl. The little girl on the beach with the long fingers and everything.
Yeah. And her mom also had the long fingers. Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I found the trials. Are they called trials for the giving us?
They're called committees here.
Okay. I find it interesting how you could tell they were very, very careful with what words they used.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, we'll give you some information.
Also,
go ahead.
Yeah, we'll give you some. Well, also, the witnesses were literally reading their testimony back because they'd already given that testimony in closed session, and then this was the public version of that where they had to reread their testimony. So that was also something that I found, I don't know, lacked any sort of trust in the public.
Yeah.
They didn't give us the benefit of the doubt. They had to edit, their responses and their testimony on air because there must be something else big that they're hiding.
So we have about 6 minutes left. So I just want to mention this one thing that I recently saw. Actually, it's a video that I saw today. I was going to send it to the Fantastic Five, and then I got busy doing other things. But apparently, I don't know when this happened, but Antarctica, they had a whole bunch of scientists go down, and then something happened. And then when they went to go pick them up, they were all standing in single file, looking down at their feet. as if they were like terrified that they saw something. And while they're on the aircraft trying to take them back to the States, somebody tried to sit next to them to find out, what did you see? And they weren't really saying anything. They're just sitting all there, just staring at the ground, like they were in shock of what they saw. And then finally somebody did start speaking a little bit, and they just said, we're not ready to see that. What was the wording? It was either we weren't meant to get this information, or we're not ready. I can't remember, but they don't know. They apparently they saw something. If I can find that footage again, I'll send it. And if I can find the link as well, I'll add it to the show notes to this. So if anybody wants to look at the video and tell me, yeah, I found that really interesting.
I'd like to see that for myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
If this was a U.S. thing, they probably came out of McMurdo down there.
Okay.
I think it's McMurdo.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just fascinating. I would love to go down there and see what's actually there, but you have to get special permission, and that's very difficult.
Someone put up. Yeah. Someone put up the old Admiral Byrd footage where he's talking about his expedition down there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something interesting. We hit the South Pole and we went beyond it, and there was something else there. And the flat Earth people are all over that. It's like, we told you there was something there beyond the thing. And it's like, I don't think, I don't know.
Wow.
Too many. I mean, maybe I'm jaded. I work at NASA, but our planets are round. I'm sorry.
It's just something I don't want to trash anybody, but how from the flat earthers, but the flat earthers that I've ever heard speak, I don't understand how the rest of the planets and moons and everything are round in space except for Earth. Why are we flat, and nobody else is? I don't get that.
Well, it ties in, as I understand it, it ties into the fact that we're all living in a giant hologram, and this is our world, our video game to play in.
Yeah.
So that's
interesting.
That's my understanding. That, yeah.
Well, thank you so very much. I almost called you Tom. Good grief. My brother-in-law must be thinking about
Tom's
me.
Got the red beard. I got the gray one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's it. Now I know how to tell you apart.
We're both bald. Red hair for Tommy.
So thank you so much, Tim, for being on the show again. I had so many laughs again. It's always a pleasure having you on. If you could tell the audience where they can find you.
I'm right here. No, I'm just kidding. You can reach me. You can find me rather on YouTube at paranormal_insight. If you want to follow me there, all my UPRN stuff goes there. It goes to Rumble. It goes to Twitch. And I think that's it for now. I may go to X as well, but I think there's a thing there. And yeah, I also want to offer our services. We still go out there and do some hunting. So if you want JJ and I to help you out with your haunted issues, yeah. If you want, we can do that too. Reach out to us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com, and that'll get to me, and we'll check out your issue and see if we can help you out.
Awesome. And I'm sure you can. So thank you so very much, brother. I appreciate this. Look forward to having you on again. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. I wish you lots of love, happiness, and prosperity.
Thank you so much. And my same to you and your audience. And it's been a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, folks, That was another episode. So thank you to my special guest tonight and UPRN 107.7 New Orleans. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. And to be a guest on the show, you just want to say hello or want to help support the show by purchasing Paranormal Heart merch, drop me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. Much love to you all. Until next time, bye.